Hello and welcome to what I think might be the 5th or 6th Madaxeman.com podcast. This is a post-BHGS challenge podcast with a whole range of guests, and we talk mostly about art to the Guerre.
Right guys, well we're driving back down on a on the road Madaxeman.com podcast from the BHGS challenge 2016, and I'm here with Aussie Simon.
G'day.
We're here with Dave.
Hello.
And we're here with wins everything he touches, Mr. Webb.
Hello.
Hello. So I suppose we can just go round clockwise, really. No, actually anti-clockwise would be better. Save the best till last and have a dip in the middle. So Simon, what were you playing this weekend?
I was playing in the Renaissance Fog Art competition. So early 30 Years' Wars of Religion.
So was it a quite tightly themed period?
Reasonably tight. They allowed a few of the random armies to come in, some of the Eastern Europeans, which brought a few odd combinations, and Alistair's army.
Right, one of those, yeah.
Yeah. So we had someone bring a Polish army with war wagons.
Wow.
Yes.
That must be. Has anyone ever used them in Fog Art in a competition? Have you ever seen it? Genuinely,
I've seen a Polish army, but never a war wagon. And even us referees were going, hang on, I need to get the rule book, because no one ever brings them in.
No one ever uses them. So did they do anything? Did you fight them?
No, they didn't get anywhere near
right.
Above bottom table.
Oh right, okay. Consistently bumping along.
Can you shoot them with artillery?
You can shoot them with artillery. All the pike and shot units went, soft squishy, and went after them. The mounted just ignored them because they only shoot from the sides.
Oh no!
So and the complex maneuver to move every turn. So quite often they just sat at the edge of the table going, I can't move. Right. So they're very, very beautiful, but completely and utterly useless.
Not particularly good.
Boo.
So what was the run through of your games then? What was the overall sweep? Did you take a submarine? Did you bounce along the top? Did you mid-table mediocrity? What was the trajectory of your weekend?
I bounced along the top, so 2 big wins, 2 draws, and a loss.
In that order, or
it was draw, 2 big wins, draw, Alistair.
Okay, so you saved the Alistair till last.
Yeah, so I was on second all the way through to the final round, and then finally got third. Yay!
Did Alistair win by at least a whole round's worth?
Yeah, he won by complete. So in my round, he could lose everything and still have won.
Right. Oh, okay. So you were always playing for second at best.
Yes.
From that one.
Yeah.
Very literally.
Yeah, it didn't bode well.
No, not ideal. Okay. And what was the? Were there any particular highlights? Any amazing results that when you smashed something through, or had a disaster? Anything stick in the mind?
There's a couple of good ones. Not my table, but I saw one table. One of the guys lost all 4 generals in one round.
So that's either 11s or 12s, isn't it? To do
yes.
That?
Yeah. 3 12s.
3 12s.
And an 11. So
it
was quite. It's like, well, that's you rallying for the rest of the game, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
That was quite spectacular. The most humorous was playing against Bob this morning. Bob had brought a 30 Years' War French army, so it's impact foot, quite scared. They come up, try to give you a kicking, see what happens. He charged, his foot finally got into my into charge range, charged some of my foot who are a little bit worse for wear, broke it, proceeded to, that one route, proceeded to take 3 other units away through a chain of the guy next to him broke. That then caused the artillery in front to rout, caused the guys behind to rout. So I was like, well, there's 4 battle groups disintegrating into red mist.
That's a big hole in your arm.
Yeah, that was quite impressive.
Right. And then and over the weekend, you were staying in the rather Spartan student accommodation?
Deluxe accommodation. I had a plywood bed and pillow, I think.
Yes. Yeah, it was a little bit, yes. Non-organic, really. I think
yes.
Probably whatever they'd done with that pillow and the pillowcase, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, and their quality food of 2 colours.
Yeah, you're a vegetarian, which was
yes.
a range of this. Was it? I think I saw the vegetarian food, and for all 4 meals, it all looked to be exactly the same product, just shaped differently.
Yes, I think the dinner they thickened it up.
Okay. Right.
So it was interesting.
You should have come with us for the curry.
I should have gone for the curry.
Yeah, that was the secret. Okay.
Yeah. Rule 1: go for the curry.
Go for the curry.
Don't go for local food.
Right. So Dave, you're in the back. I don't know if you might have to lean forward a bit, but
That's right.
talk us through your weekend.
Well, I had the Naga chili curry.
Oh, you Naga chili.
Yes,
Okay.
which is not bad, but interesting.
So what's
no,
a Naga chili curry?
the Naga chili is the hottest chili in the world,
Ooh.
allegedly. It wasn't that hot, but tasted a bit like a Chinese sweet and sour, to be honest. I
different
thought
type
the
of
food
hot.
in the day was very good.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll talk about the war game. I suspect I might have come second bottom or third bottom. But then
If you want, we can call and check.
we could go and check just to really get it on record. Literally. No, 3 of the games were within 2 points either way, which is really thrilling. And you feel like you're in the game to the very end. Like you don't
Is
pull
there
the
anything
points
that
out.
you've learned from this?
I think
deep
my
humiliation?
army choice was good, but the combination was dreadful. I think you need the medium foot when playing Art to the Guerre, which is what we've been playing. I think a large amount of medium foot is a bad mistake. You need a few medium foots to deal with terrain, but you don't want a lot of them.
I suppose there's always an option of trying to be defender and putting a lot of terrain down, but then you've still got to force them to come to you, haven't you?
Yeah, tried that against you, Tim, and that
that's
didn't work
true. Yeah, it
at
didn't
all.
work. No, it didn't work. All the terrain ended up on my half, I think.
Yeah, it did indeed. That
Very
didn't
nice
work.
of you to take all the terrain.
Well, it's
Especially when your
as you do.
flank march came on off the second bound.
Oh,
And then absolutely decimated my poor
Flank march
medium
attack.
foot, who were desperately trying to find a field to hide in.
Because you do love a flank march, don't you?
Well, I'll give it a go. In Art to the Guerre, it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's worthwhile. It comes on a 5 or 6 after the first turn, so you should get one on. But I suppose the troops are in combat pretty quickly anyway. So even a few turns can put you a bit behind. But coming on they came on in turn 2. They arrived in turn 3, and were pretty much fighting into the flank of the Almodovar, losing my chief command, my fast lancers by turn 4. And then it was all
The
red
Lancers were very good because they were quick as well.
Plus,
Yeah.
with 300 points, you've got 4 commands, so
Yeah.
it's easier to have one off that
Yes.
rank.
I think the 300 points is a very different game, and the Dark Ages period is a very different game as well to what we usually play. I think I'm happy in the classical period, 200 points and things like that. I'm quite happy with the armies and that. This one is about learning the army lists and combinations, and it's back to that scenario where if you don't get the army quite correct in the competition, you can get fairly hammered. Which is what has happened entirely. What has happened? That is my excuse.
That's good.
Well,
I did throw an enormous, inadequate number of wands everywhere.
That always helps.
And a 6-1 is an absolute disaster.
So should we pass the recording
Yes.
baton to Pete then?
To the
Aye.
winning people.
That's it. Managed to enjoy myself. So I had the exact same army list as Dave.
Yeah. Different one.
Yeah, well, slightly different. So I had my Sicilian Normans with good old Frederick. So I managed to change it a little bit. So I had the mixed unit.
Yeah, run us through your commands. Run us through your army structure.
So I had a lot of medium knights. So I had one command with 5 medium knights impact with 5 light infantry. Because speaking to Seb, usual French player, who has been playing at our club and played out to Guerre for a while, he was explaining to me about how the light infantry quite happily sit with the knights, and so therefore they end up absorbing some shots, so you can get in without your knights getting worried, because medium knights don't have the same armour as the heavy knights, but they still hit like a battering ram. So the idea is to get them in without them taking any hits, and then they can do their shock value.
That's the German Ally command.
Yeah, German Ally command. Sorry, no, that's the Italians.
Oh,
So 5 medium knights impact with 5 light infantry Saracen light infantry archers. Second command was 3 of the mixed units, so it's heavy spear with crossbow. So 3 of those, but they're great for shooting, but then they fight at mediocre. 3 light infantry bow. So with this list, the way it's set up, you can actually take a lot of light infantry. So they were able to screen my first of my impetuous knights. So with this list, you have to take 300 points, 6 impetuous knights. So I took had 2 commands. So command 2 and command 3 were virtually the same, with 3 mixed units, 3 light infantry, and 3 knights.
What type of generals did you have in those? Because
Well,
having a good general to control the impetuous knights is a bit of a thing.
I actually stuck at ordinary general because the way I positioned the mixed units with the knights, the impetuous knights were only going to go downfield. So I kept them mid-table. They were just going to go hit once the shooter units had actually softened up the opposition. But because they were there, it stopped the opposition coming and just having foot troops coming against the spearmen. And with having the spearman there, it stopped him just bringing his light horse up to taunt the knights and get them off in different directions. So I actually had an ordinary commander with them, and 2 ordinary commanders with the mixed units. Had a competent commander with the 5 knights, medium knights impact, and my 4th command was another 4 medium knights impact. They were the German mercenaries, with 4 light horse. And so that was another competent. So I could either stack up one side or have mobile units on either side, or have the mixed units move it around, so I could end up with either a whole batch of impetuous knights charging through the middle if I wanted, or change it round. So it gave a lot of flexibility on how it was set up depending on the terrain.
Did you have anything to go into terrain though?
No.
There's nothing that's contested terrain?
Absolutely nothing. And so when it came to terrain selection, I was dicing for a coast. I was choosing a road. If I was attacking, just 2 items. Defending, I'd go for a village. If I had to choose something, it would be a gentle hill. But I was avoiding, I was only choosing 2 terrain, and anyone put any down, I was trying to take it off. So you'd have 2 goes to take it off, which I managed to do so most of the time.
And did you find most of your opponents were not putting down the maximum terrain? Because it's quite unusual to have an army that can't contest any of it.
Well, that's just it. Most of the commands. So I played 2 of the ones I played against were communal Italians. So they had some armors, which were the medium foot, but they didn't succeed in putting that much terrain down. And where it was actually mitigated off. So if terrain was put down, I basically ignored it and moved off to the other side. And a couple of times it was in the way, I just had my crossbow just shoot. I was quite happy then. The terrain's there, fine, I'm just going to shoot. It's not a problem, but most of the time I was able to move it out of the way. I was fortunate, well, in one way, his first game was against Hubert, who ended up coming first. French guy, Hubert Breton. He had communal Italians and explained in detail as he took me apart about how medium knights work and how they don't work, and how they work really well as elite. So that's something I'll be doing next time. He also mentioned that having
none of yours were elite.
No elite. But it really works with having the light infantry in front of the knights. He was also saying that also in this period they usually take some quite high commanders, at least a brilliant commander, because he's great for taking the pips off and for moving the knights around and collecting everything. So I ended up 2 of my games were against communal Italians. 1 was against Scots Highlanders with a Viking component, which was interesting. And my last one was definitely different, Christian Nubian, Attack of the Camels, which went quite well in the end.
It's quite an interesting spread. So you've gone from middle Italy to Africa to north of the Scandinavia and all that.
Yeah, it certainly kept it interesting about what's going to turn up next. And as Dave was saying, even with someone with exactly the same list, there's a lot of variety in Art about how you can actually structure it. Yeah. Especially at 300 points, you've got the key components, but with different periods within that list, you can actually change the structure of it quite substantially, depending on how you want to take and how you want to structure it. But there's some really good opponents. Learned a lot from different players and seeing how they were structuring things. I had a couple of close games, but most of them went quite well once the knights hit in. So using the mixed units to sort of like fend them off, cause a couple of hits, force them to react to it, and once they reacted to it, and then hit them with the knights.
Yeah. That sounds
That's interesting. Your knights weren't elite, because all my knights were elite, impetuous, and I think that was a weakness because I lost a lot of points and things like that. I had a lot of light foot, but I didn't have as many light foot to completely cover the whole unit. Yeah. So I'd have 5 knights with 3 light foot.
Yeah.
But it doesn't protect them all.
Well,
you need to protect them all.
I had 37 units in the end.
37 as well.
Yeah, one peasant at the back.
Yeah.
One little levy who I kept leaving at the camp, all there full on. It was good. Really enjoyed it. Good curry. Yeah, learning experience. There was some good guys coming over from Spain and France who have asked us to go over and play more there. So Dave, you were collecting a lot of info, so doing trips to Spain and things.
Emails, and they're going to send us a list of competitions in Spain.
Excellent.
And Tim and I are going to France this weekend.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so that's true actually. Yeah, so we're off to the tank museum.
Yeah,
French tank museum.
Get spanked by the French with their set of rules.
In fact, did any of us beat a Frenchman or this weekend?
I don't think anybody has, have they?
I've beaten Seb at roll call.
This
weekend, no.
Yeah,
no. I came second.
They were so busy playing each other.
Yeah.
They've been so busy playing each other.
Beating each other up, yeah.
They played each other, okay.
I did the Dave Sabrine Saunders to come up.
Okay. Well, certainly from mine, I had it was a feudal Spanish army that they were sort of similar. I didn't have any of the Boex. I had a big, very wide spear command. It had normal spears, it had a supported spear, it had a couple of armoured religious orders spears, and that was there really just to and some supporting bowmen. And my theory was that would just try and put itself in the face of enemy knights. Then I had a command with impact foot Almugavars who were to either take things on by rushing at them and using their impact damage, or dominate any terrain, and that also had 3 bowmen. It kind of meant both of those were wider than the 6 units that you can move together for just 1 pip. But so I was ending up deploying them in sort of a couple of ranks or a couple of groups, and then 2 mounted commands, one which was 6 elite knights and 3 elite knights and 3 ordinary knights, medium knights, and then one which was 4 ordinary impact cavalry or impetuous cavalry, so their impact. And I'd originally thought about just taking all knights, but having kind of played 1 practice game with it, I saw that the knights were a little bit slow, and if you had 10 knights that were all a little bit slow, just the extra speed of the Lancer cavalry and their extra manoeuvrability just probably offset the fact they're not quite as good in combat. They could get to the right place more quickly. So it didn't really work. The first game, I'm just trying to think what happened in the first game. No, the first game I was fighting against Chris with an Arab army, and it had a lot of mixed medium spear and bow in the middle. That my thought was they're medium foot, they count as poor in combat. I'll send my line of spears towards them and try and run them down. And what ended up happening was that because I had no screening light infantry, all my spears took casualties on the way in, which meant that when they got into combat, they just weren't particularly good. And I lost sort of in the combat and just really got chewed up on that one. I came close but got chewed up. And then the second game, I was fighting a Boex Communal Italian army that again had heavy foot spearmen backed up with bows and crossbows. And I tried to do exactly the same thing. I tried to charge them with my spearmen, and my spearmen just got absolutely crucified by shooting on the way in. I think there was, by the end of the second round of shooting, every single one of my spears was carrying a hit, which just meant that we were going into combat down all the way along the line. It just never got better. And then their knights absolutely chewed up mine, and that was a complete disaster. But after that, I played the same army again, and realised that pushing unprotected spearmen into Boex doesn't really work. So third game, I kind of second guessed my opponent with the order of where the commands were deployed, and managed to get the faster moving impact Almugavars into the spear bow combination and chewed them up. Managed to force my spearmen into the front of some of his knights, which they stood off pretty well, and managed to get my my knights into something a bit more squishy. So that then worked. Next game I played Dave in the back, one of the games he doesn't want to talk about.
So what happened?
This was all about the flank march. It was a pretty open table, and I thought, there was almost too much terrain, so it was not quite wide enough for my army, and I thought I'd stack everything up to the left and send the 4 cavalry on a flank march, and Dave then deployed gratefully some loose formation foot on that flank, and so when my cavalry arrived in turn 3, as I say, they were into them and over them in turn 4 and 5. They just got this line of loose formation foot got rolled up by these fast-moving, charging lance arm cavalry in double quick time, whilst they were also being hit in the front by my knights. And I think the Almugavars went. There was an Almugavar off in the wood with my Almugavars against yours, which mine were just better because they had impacts. They did all right, but I think initially I
shouldn't have done, but they did.
Yeah, but then I kind of won on the rest of the table,
Yes.
and then the game this afternoon was against Gordon, who had a Nicephorian Byzantine that was almost entirely comprised of scutatoi, which were mixed spear and bow, and having played that game 3 or 4 times over the course of the weekend, I worked out how to get my spearmen and Almugavars into the scutatoi without taking casualties. And I think just by screening with the light foot and closing really quickly. And I think by the time all my spearmen and all my Almugavars hit, I don't think this time any of them were carrying shooting casualties. And when you've got superior troops going into inferior troops on evens factors or up factors to the superior, that's just a big win. So, I took quite a few casualties against just trying to go in. Some of my knights had to charge the enemy spear. Well, they didn't have to, but they ended up charging the enemy spear because there wasn't much else to do. But I thought the Almugavars and the spears were going to win, and even trading off, losing 1 for 1 or even losing 2 for 1 with the knights would still tip the enemy army over the break point, and that's what's happened. So it really was a sort of submarining learning curve, getting stuff badly wrong in the first 2 games where I'd not really practiced, and then learning it by games 3 and starting to put it all right by game 5. So, but an interesting period. Really good to get the Dark Age armies out, and to see what in some rules are pretty stodgy troop types of medium spearmen or close formation spearmen all play and work really, really differently in ATLG. And it's in a way it's a shame we're playing a completely different period next weekend, going into something very different where I'm using a different size army in a different size period, but something to look forward to. And I think each time we play it, you learn a bit more about it, learn a bit more of the subtlety of it, but also get a little bit better, because I think at the start of the weekend I would have had conversations with people about, shooting is pretty good, it gives you a hit, and to go from losing the first couple of games to being shot to then fighting an all bow army effectively by the end and managing to roll it over just by actually changing tactics and having a little bit more luck, but really by changing tactics, it sort of proves that these rules are on version 3. They've been played for 8 years. There aren't obvious things. It's more that we just haven't learned how to deal with them yet, which is great. So onwards and upwards, really.
I'm convinced more about the power of the knights after even taking on an elephant, Gaznu. I didn't manage to get an elephant rampage, unfortunately.
Oh, well done.
That's always good. Good. Well, we're now still heading into traffic, so with that recap of the weekend's events, we will upload this podcast and see you all next time that we get around to doing this.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.